Shabbat Shalom. Oh, let me hear all those beautiful voices here or at home. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
It's good to see you. We welcome Emma Trevex here to help us with services. And you know, it's Rosh Chodesh Cheshvan now. We just came from a month so full of holidays, and now we get one with no holidays. But wait, we still have Shabbat. So this one we should really pull together, enjoy. This is really our only holiday this month. So we'll turn to page 4 and sing Hine Matov U'Manayim, how beautiful it is to be with you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here, everybody. Hine Matov U'Manayim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov U'Manayim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Shabbat Achim Gam Yachad, 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 Shabbat Achim Gam Yachad.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We are blessed at Temple Israel with many regulars. And often they come and they sit in pretty much the same seats every single week. And we have one regular who comes and sits in the same, but she's the only one that I know that comes to Temple Israel on Friday nights with a posse. I mean, I'm telling you, family, friends, neighbors, a posse. It's the Fran Finsilver posse, and she's been doing it now for 95 years. So in honor of her 95th birthday, we're asking her to light the Shabbos candles, and we're going to bring the microphone down to her. There we go. Page, I don't know, 13 maybe, or 14? 14? Yeah.
Light is the foundation of life, not yet impossible to touch. Light is flowers growing and fruit trees blossoming, photosynthesis and rainbows shimmering. Light is energy and romance, enlightenment and lightning. Light is red and violet and magenta and blue, lasers and campfires, warmth and illumination, the sunset and the dawn. Baruch atah
Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu b'chayim Shabbat.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, eternal source of the universe, who hails us with mitzvot and commands us to kindle the lights of Shabbat.
Amen. And Mazel Tov.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lechadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Turn to page 34 for Lechadodi. Lechadodi. נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי. אורי, אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה וצהלה. תוך אמוני ים סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
We turn together to the top of page 41. Together. We give each other hints in smiles and glances, in loving words and sharp reminders. We give each other hints knowingly or unknowingly, in great thunderclaps or still small voices. We give each other hints in these bonds of family, in these gifts of friendship, spoken or unspoken. Together we find our way to God.
On page 42. Yikada v'yikada shemei Rava. Amen. V'alma divrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh. V'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, uvizman karim v'meru. Amen. Yehesh me Rabba mevorach, le'alam ulan me'al mahaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, v'yishabach, v'yitbar, v'yitroma, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yithalal, shemei dekudesha, richu, le'la min kol bechata v'shirato, shush bechata, v'nechemata, jamiran ve'alma, ve'meru, amen.
together in the middle of page 45, we read together. Our kind deeds are used by God as seed for the planting of trees in the Garden of Eden. Thus, each of us, by our deeds, has the power to create our own paradise. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim. Blessed are you, O God, who makes the evening fall. And we continue together on page 50, or responsively. O God, you traveled with our fathers as they journeyed through the wilderness. You sang with our fathers at the shores of the Red Sea. You stood with our fathers as they fought against oppression. You have brought us all here, fathers and mothers, daughters and sons, to our own promised land of freedom.
On page 56.
If you're lost, you feel afraid, and you don't know what to say, then listen to our God. Is there a question on your mind? Is the answer hard to find? Then listen to our God. Listen with all your heart and soul, and with all your mind. Guide them and learn them and teach them well, every morning and night. Close your eyes and listen.
Quiet yourself, there's nothing to say. Stop all the chatter that gets in the way and listen to our God. When the wind and the thunder finally disappear, there's still a voice that you will hear if you listen to our God. You can hear it from the top of the highest hill or from the valley below. It can come from the edge of the universe. It can come from within your soul. Close your eyes and listen. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Listen to our God.
Listen to our God. As you're seated, we continue on 57. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך, בשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו, ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, הייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Amen.
Of course, in the prayer that we just sang, it says, "You shall teach them to your children." And the baby whom we are about to name is the child of soon-to-be 2 PhDs. Clearly going right from kindergarten to graduate school, there's no question, but it may be a little too easy for such prognostication. However, what I can tell you for sure is that she is really, really beautiful and really enchanting. And so it is with a great deal of love that we call upon the family of Layla Aidan Mansfeld to come forward, the daughter of Carly Wayne and Ben Mansfeld. They'll be receiving beautiful candlesticks and baby book, certificate for tuition at Temple Israel's preschool. It's a little bit of a commute from Ann Arbor, but worth every minute, and a Shabbat b'yachad dinner.
ברוכים הבאים בשם אדוני, ברכנוכם מבית אדוני.
Well, Layla, because you have this Israeli parentage and so on, it turns out we're giving you both your English and Hebrew name, which are the exact same. So, Layla Aidan, you are named in memory of your maternal great-grandfather, Larry Wayne, your paternal great-grandmother, Eileen Sulsky. Your proud grandparents are, and I know that they really are, Brenda Wayne and Gary Karp and Eleanor and Chaim Mansfeld. And you are blessed with great-grandmother Marilyn Wayne. We love you, we welcome you, and we pray that you will grow to Torah, to chuppah, and to ma'asim tovim, to deeds of love and kindness, as we all sing together.
ברוך אתה, אדוני אלוהינו, מלך העולם, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה, אדוני אלוהינו, מלך העולם, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. Amen.
Yedwa was absolutely right. She is beautiful and enchanting. And in her honor, we turn to page 60. And you'll see why. We celebrate our miracles, the water parting, wall tumbling, sun standing still miracles of our ancestors. Who is like you, O God, creator of fulfillment and joy?
מי כמוך
So we were just sitting here discussing what to call Emma now that she's working for us so often. Cantorette was my favorite, but I with that, I'm going to lead you into a song, Vishamru, which is a song about Shabbat. And Emma, are you singing it? I am. Okay, so Cantorette, let's have it.
Vishamru, B'nai Yisrael, B'nai Yisrael, et ha-Shabbat la'asot, et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל, בני ישראל, את השבת לעשות, את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל, בני ישראל, את השבת לעשות, את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי, וביום השביעי, שבת וינפש. וביום השביעי, וביום השביעי, שבת וינפש. Shabbat, Shabbat, vayinafas. Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Can you not clap your hands right? Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Rise together. Adonai, sifatai tiftahu fi agi tehilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh Hakol, V'zocher Chastei Avot ve'Imaot, U'mevii Geula libnei bneihem, Le'ma'an Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshiach Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah.
Together at the bottom of 69. Prayer invites us to let God's presence suffuse our spirits, to let God's will prevail in our lives. Prayer cannot bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city, but prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, and rebuild a weakened will. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh Hakol. Blessed are you, O God, who renews all things.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללו הסלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
As you're seated, we pray silently.
As our thoughts turn to healing of body and spirit, please join me on page 83 and read responsively with me by paragraph. Close within us the holes left by sickness. Bind them up by your threads of faith. Renew in us the strength of body. Raise us up with your words of love. Kindle within us the flickering spirit. Guide us with your eternal flame. We sing the Mishaberach together.
May the source of strength
Now, since you've all been introduced to Emma, the real title that she will have is in 3 years, you're going to call her attorney at law. But she will maintain the position of cantorial soloist, which she now has been granted at Temple Israel. So, I don't care if you need her as an attorney in 3 years, you're on your own, but don't schedule meetings when we need her here at Temple Israel. Shabbat shalom. So I'll tell you about 2 men tonight who probably could use an attorney. 2 men from our ancient biblical past. For children, there is no more fascinating image than the one of Noah and his floating zoo. Artists keep this wonderful image alive for us as adults. Or the second man, who probably could have used good advice, would have been Jonah. Jonah, a big fish or whale history. Now, these stories are easily recalled and fascinating because they're very visual. If the story of Jonah lacked the whale, it would have been forgettable. Noah without the ark would be another family saved from a flood. And God only knows, we've seen too many of them this year already. In ancient times, you see, stories were not passed along by writing them down. It was word of mouth, and you had to create beautiful images that could easily be recalled as the story was told from one person to the next. They needed something dramatic, more dramatic than Jonah ran away and Noah survived a flood. Now, how we understand these stories, they were really etiological myths. Stories found in many diverse cultures intended to teach the people living at the time important lessons, how to understand what was really going on in their lives, explaining the origins of a practice. On Yom Kippur, in the afternoon, we read the story of Jonah. But now it's time to focus on Noah, for this is the biblical reading for tomorrow morning. What both of these men have in common is simply that they faced a crisis. Jonah was called upon to protect a potential enemy of his people, asking them to repent. He didn't want them to repent because he wanted them to be destroyed by God. Lo and behold, poor Jonah, they repented. He flees. He's ultimately challenged by God. And the story really teaches us that it's not simply the God of one people, but God is the God of all humanity, of all creation. It is a universalist story. God is the God of all of us. The short story concludes really with a sulking Jonah sitting under a shriveled gourd that had provided him with shade. Now, the Noah tale is equally as fascinating. It begins with the call to a man who is described as righteous in his generation. It doesn't say that Noah was really a really great guy. It says, compared to everybody else who was living at that time, Noah was a bit better. Does this mean he was really righteous, or simply the best of a less than wonderful generation? You know the story of a rabbi at a funeral. He meets with the family. He calls every friend of this gentleman who had died, and he can't get anything good to say at the service. And so he opens up with, he was certainly better than his younger brother. Barry, if you're watching, that was for you, my younger brother. I can't believe I did that. Okay. Noah builds an ark, and he remains there for 150 days. Imagine the environment, and that's what's so visual about this floating zoo. Now, how many of you own pets, still have pets? Raise your hand. How many of you have ever had a pet? We've all had a pet. Our pets were the best, weren't they? Art, maybe not so perfect, but whether it was a dog, a cat, a bird, or even a tarantula, you understand what Noah must have faced. You see, the easier task was actually the building of the ark. Imagine feeding, caring for, and cleaning up of animals in a very confined space. Day and night, Noah and his family were on call, and remember, there were no veterinarians in those days. In the middle of the night, there were no emergency clinics available to be called to take your pet to at an outrageous price to cure him of a hanging toenail or something like that. The mixture of animals, lions, oxen, birds, monkeys, snakes, and you get the picture. During this crisis, Noah stands tall. He was equal to the challenging test. He built an ark, an altar after he got off the ark. Blessed by God, his family, his rules were established. There was a covenant. Never again will God destroy the world through water. And what does Noah go do after a moment in time? He goes, plants a vineyard, and he gets drunk, and he uncovers himself, which is a euphemistic way of expressing whatever you might think it might be. He drinks and becomes inebriated. We go from Noah the hero to Noah the normal, average man with all of the failings that we can easily recognize in ourselves. The ark is at rest. Noah had to think about how to confront the many mundane challenges that for all of us daily life provides. He built an ark, he took charge, solved the problem, became the centerpiece in a wonderful story. But had he told his neighbors and friends what he was doing, and maybe had he saved some of them, then really his story would have been worth retelling. Okay, I admit it's not fair to rewrite the story as I would have liked it to have been. When the challenges of daily existence returned, Noah walked into a bar, had a drink. Oh, that is another story. But this is the scenario that I think all of us can understand when we think about our own lives. When confronted with emergencies, with challenges that are so deep and impressive and important, so many of us have been surprised by our ability to respond with courage and also with determination. Once the challenge is passed, we go back to a familiar pattern, at times wondering what happened to that superhero who had been here for a moment. Now, not one of us in this chapel, this room of worship today, knows how we are going to respond to the next emergency call. Will we build an ark for our family, taking them in and sheltering them? Will we be the one in need of support? Will we be able to create an environment where others will be able to help support us, help contribute? Thankfully, most of the time, our life is rather ordinary. But each one of us can list the times, those moments when our life was transformed from peaceful existence to potential disaster. Rabbis, clergy are often called into what I call crisis intervention moments. We receive a call from a young woman who has lost her job, and she's fearful. What will she do with her life? She's about to lose her home. She's a single woman. How will she take care of her children? An aging parent is in need of additional care in the family, doesn't know where to turn, doesn't know who to ask, doesn't know where to find the necessary resources. A teenager is suspended from school because of drug possession. In each of these situations and so many others that we can understand, there's often one person who actually takes the lead. He's the person everyone is so used to turning to when there's a crisis in the life of a family. But what happens when that person is the one who's under pressure? Are there other members of the family who come together? If it's a financial crisis, do they begin blaming each other and wonder what happened? Or do they find a way to care deeply and move a family in a proper direction? Now, at Temple Israel, we, your clergy, are so very fortunate because we're able to turn to someone by the name of Carrie Provisor, the director of our Sosnick Family Life Center. And what amazes me is how often, in a moment of crisis when a family needs some direction, they've been members here forever. And I have to begin by introducing this amazing person and program to even longtime family members and temple members. Carrie here to provide guidance and resources. I really don't know of any other congregation, I hope there are many, that has a full-time social worker on staff. Carrie has fulfilled the goal of its founder, Robert Sosnick, to provide guidance and support to families who are in crisis. Okay, remember that name. I hope you never need to call. But she does so much more than just offering moments of crisis support. She's there to offer programmatic opportunities for all of us to help enhance and make more beautiful our lives. So with that important commercial concluded, let's go back to poor Noah. Think about it for a moment. He's exhausted. He leaves the ark. There are no therapists to deal with the grief of the destruction of the world as he knows it. There are no 12-step programs to assist him to deal with his drinking problem, a problem that probably he had before the flood. So he plants a vineyard, he takes a drink, and the rest is history. The lesson of Noah applies to each of our lives. If we are fortunate, we will find a way to steer the ship of life when a crisis occurs. If we are wise, we will look for resources that will support us during the most challenging times and then help us to transition and move forward. Whenever I meet with a couple before the wedding, I tell them if they have a problem, find help. Too many people believe that it is the weak who go for counseling and support. I'm going to suggest it is absolutely, and I tell them it's the opposite. It takes courage to admit to yourself that you need some help, you need some guidance, you need someone to entertain your questions and guide you as you move through life. It takes wisdom and courage to recognize there is a problem, to deal with the issue, and bring about resolution. Consider then for a moment Jonah, the other guy in our somewhat magical story. Does he really understand the message of his life stories that God is a universal God whose concern is all humanity? You cannot flee the responsibilities you see of taking care of your neighbors. I don't know if any of you have these signs popping up in your neighborhoods at lots of houses. Simply signs, and there are probably 5 on my street alone. Love your neighbor. Any of you seen that sign? Have you seen that sign in front of houses? And then it's a list of all the people you should love in your neighborhood. Don't you wish you knew how you can do that and reach out to everyone who needs your help? Don't you wish you knew if a sulking Jonah became a dynamic spokesman, bringing people together? Does Noah ever come to terms with the fact that his family alone survived the destruction of the world? Wouldn't it be nice to know what happens to Noah during the next period of his life? Perhaps he decides to straighten out, and rather than being simply a righteous person in a pretty rotten generation, he becomes a righteous person in the next generation and lives by a higher standard. In a few days, I will be going to the Fisher's Theater to see Andrew Lloyd Webber's Love Never Dies. Have any of you seen it so far? Okay, a couple of you, raise your hands. I understand that this is the next chapter in the story of the Phantom of the Opera. Jonah and Noah were left hanging. The Phantom gets another opportunity at love. Now, the real question is, will it leave Detroit where it's opening and go to Broadway? But I'll leave that for the critics. We all may have 1 or 2 amazing, challenging moments on the stage of our life. We may be a star in a crisis, but I'm going to suggest that we're really going to be remembered for the way we live when life is far simpler and more mundane. We will be remembered for the way we treat those we love and the way we reach out to those who need our help and our support. Since this Shabbat, the Torah portion is about Noah, I'm going to give him the final word. Be strong during a moment of crisis. You might surprise yourself. Get help when you are beyond your ability to find answers. And finally, it is okay to build an ark. But do not forget, you do not have to row it by yourself. Shabbat Shalom.
In the silence, in the darkness, I pray, I pray. In my unrest, in my weakness, I pray, oh, I pray. When I've gone too far, when I've tried too hard, I pray, I pray. As the years go by, through the tears I cry, I pray, oh, I pray for truth and understanding, for forgiveness and relief. I pray for faith and hope unending. I pray for strength. I pray for peace. Through the raging storms, on the verge of harm, I pray, I pray. When the white dove comes, when the skylines fall, I pray, oh, I pray. I pray for truth and understanding, for forgiveness and relief. I pray for faith and hope unending. I pray for strength. I pray for peace. In the silence, in the darkness, I pray, oh Lord, I pray.
Emma, I'm just going to say that there were a couple lawyers in my class. They're happily serving congregations now. I'm just going to throw it out there. It's my pleasure now to call to the Bima Brian Frank, a member of our executive committee, to deliver our congregational announcements.
Shabbat Shalom. New year, new practice. Join us Sunday at 10 a.m. for a morning yoga class taught by Cindy Levine. Drop off your children at religious school and enjoy a morning of mental, physical, and spiritual health. Cindy has been practicing yoga since 2003 and teaching since 2008. Cindy currently teaches at Citizen Yoga in Bloomfield Hills and Royal Oak. Guest appearances by Rabbi Yedwab. Join Sisterhood on Wednesday, November 8th for fashion, fun, and games. This is Sisterhood's annual fabulous fashion show and luncheon beginning at noon. Shop from 10 until 3:30 p.m. at the boutiques. It's a great place to buy gifts for yourself or for the special people in your life. Wondering what to do with last year's coat? Temple Israel is partnering with Tappers for their annual coat, mitten, hat, glove, and boot drive beginning now until the end of November. You can donate new or gently used items, and the items will be distributed by mid-December. In addition, the National Council of Jewish Women are having a shoe drive through October 27th, not to be confused with the Tapper boot drive. All items can be dropped off at the Tyner entrance. For further information or RSVP for any of these programs, please look at the desk outside as you leave. On behalf of the officers and members of the Board of Trustees, let me wish each of you Shabbat Shalom.
And just one more early plug, because Brian and I have been working to bring Professors Howard Lupovich and Professor Saeed Khan here. They speak about anti-Semitism and Islamophobia, where we meet, where we coincide, and how we can help each other's communities. That's November 28th in the evening here at Temple Israel. If you've never seen them together, it's really impressive, the amount of knowledge and compassion they bring to the subject. So now as we turn to page 189, we invite all those in our congregation aged 11 and younger to join us. One of our regulars is sound asleep. Come on, Austin. Please join us on the bima as we rise for the adoration. Be seated. If you, O God, are the wind that hovered over the face of the earth in the beginning, and my soul a breath of God within me, then when I die, my soul must flow gently into yours, a single drop of rain making its way to the sea, a tiny gust of the sacred wind which animates our universe and abides forever. We take a moment in our service to recall the names of those in our congregation and community who have died in the past 30 days, the period of Shloshim: Rhoda Bennett, Karen Block, Joseph Breschgold, Lois Budman, Sharon Colburn, Albert Coleman, Lillian DeRobin, Pauline Dubin, Maddie Frederick, Harold Gottlieb, Ethel Hyman, Leo Jacobs, Gertrude Kaplan, Joshua Kent, Gary Lebret, Beverly Laker, Leonti Laderman, Gary Lubin, David Meyer, Pauline Michaels, Dorothy Reitman, Nettie Rothenberg, Marianne Shapiro Schwartz, Zelda Schwedel, Rose Stocker, Michael Weiner, Victor Weidenbaum, Gertrude Zickerman. We also recall the names of those whose yahrzeits occur on this Shabbat: William Baines, Herbert Berger, Morris Max Eidelman, Yaakov Gelfand, Robert Goldman, Danielle Megan Gorin, Molia Yetta Harris, Oscar Hornston, Samuel Mailer, Dr. Jack Moroff, Ruth Nagelbush, Erwin Panter, Jacob Resnick, Michael Nicholas Roth, Irving Sable, Leonard Saltz, Jared Saperstein, Evelyn Sedley, Rose Slutsky, Martin Sorkowitz, Barbara Stone, Lloyd Strauss, Robert White, Henrietta Levine, Ruth Smith, Paul Menders, Sally Mutnick, Louis Allen, Sam Enstandig, Vera Cherkasky, Courtney Lisa Cantor, Basil Borax, Clara Rossman, Ann Light, Dorothy Sauls, Larry Glazer, Edward Politzer,
Leonard Stein, Isidore Slobodow, Herman Shametz, Joe Brode, Frida Goldman, Stuart Barron, Barbara Sporn, Sidney Barbas, Hilda Gins, Larry Sloan, William Lukow, Michael Helbian, Irving Shanbaum, and Robert Cahodas. We remember them with love and honor them with words of Kaddish on page 199. Hit gadal v'hit kadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'b'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agalau v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam le'olmei olmaya, Yit barach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, Huya aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. We pray that the source of peace sends peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved among us. Amen.
We conclude our service. Let's all wrap our arms around the ones we love and sing along. May we be blessed as we go on our way. May we be guided in peace. May we be blessed with health and joy. May this be our blessing. Amen.
Amen. Amen. May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen.
May we be sheltered by the wings of peace. May we be kept in safety and in love. May grace and compassion find their way to every soul. May this be our blessing. Amen.
Amen. Amen. May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing.
Amen. Shabbat shalom, everybody.